Yeah! Let's go! Yeah! Yeah! Juice! 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 Previously on Kimba TV. Hey! 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 Testnet! 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 Who wants to see the 800K Kachoya? Nick Slayer says small TA recap. Stop the music. Nothing has changed since yesterday, Nick. So, yeah, I mean, do you have any specific questions for me? For example, do you have any specific questions for me? Nothing has really changed, man. So, you know, we talked about yesterday about sweeping the bad lows. So CME finally did it. Where's my ETH chart? There we go. Okay, so you can see that cluster right there. And then that was also kind of like your last level of interest, the untapped naked point of control right there. So the ETH low got cleaned. Okay. VWAP is still resistance. And now that the RTH or the ETH low got cleaned, do you remember how we used to write like ETH SFP, RTH SFP? So the ETH SFP is done. So if, like, let's say for example, I don't know if this had a like if this had a golden pocket retest, that's the long, right? I bet it already did it. Yeah. There you go. So that's the long. That's your stop loss. You're already juicing. You already changed market structure. So your stop loss is what? Probably behind the 0.5 maybe? So you would go something like this. And then your stop loss is probably behind the 0.5. And then that's your trident. So okay, dink, 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 dink. So if you're in the long, that's awesome. Your TP1 should be VWAP. And really, like, this box is resistance. You know, it was resistance yesterday. So if you are in a long, I would say TP1 at VWAP, and then TP2 or the biggest chunk of your TP at the 95.5. So it hasn't really changed. Nothing's really changed. So if you're in a long, you want structure to change, and you want VWAP to be flipped into support. And at this point, given all of this price action, even if you turn VWAP into support, you're really going to be working against that value area high and the 95.5, really. Okay. Bastani says, how about RTH gap? What about it? So you had a bearish leaning RTH. The problem is that liquidity is low today, so you probably wouldn't need to care too much about it. But so yeah, I mean, this is a bearish gap. So you opened This does not look like dip your toes and then get out. Remember, it's the 30-minute candle close that has to get out. Right? Like this. It opens. You see? There's no 30-minute bodies above the gap, in the gap. Right? There's no 30-minute candle body inside the gap. There's no 30-minute. You see how it opens and it dips his toes in and gets right back out? All of these, they were dip your toes in, get right back out. So, you know, the more time that you spend in a gap, the higher probability you have to rotate to the other side. Okay? You know, I explained all of this. Some people are asking shit like, yo, where's the stop loss on this, bro? You're gonna get wrecked, bro. Do you remember when I put the stop loss for this live? What was my stop loss for this live? So, again, I hope nobody feels like, yo, I don't know what the fuck going on. We talked about all of this. We identified the single print down there. So there's a reason why we did what we did. All right. Yeah, so none of this should really be surprising. If you took a long there, that's awesome. If you're, you know, waiting for something like this for the trident to long, that's fine. If you're, you know, waiting for VWAP to get penetrated and you want to take the VWAP long, that's fine. But like I said with Sato, why the fuck are you shorting down here? You know, he's not watching the highlights, man. So yeah, there you go, Nikolai. That's your recap, but nothing has really changed, you know. If you feel like every time I do the morning update, you are enlightened about something, that's a problem. Because everything is talked about the day before. Okay, so if you really are listening, I'm explaining everything. He's sharing too much alpha. I'm explaining everything, man. So I don't care if you didn't long here, or maybe you didn't shave a little bit more of your short. Okay, just don't bottom short here. Like this. This does not make any fucking sense. I hope it works out for him. It's Pepe. So maybe it will, you know. But Bitcoin, dude, you should not be shorting here. There's no way.
Let's get
that makes
Kimber,
no sense. Make no goddamn sense, man. Okay, Rooney says, brother, I didn't long because it was a weak low. Remember, we talked about that, Rooney. What did we say about that low down there? It's already fucked. You remember, why did we draw this line? Do you remember when we drew this line? It's already fucked down here. You understand? It's already fucked, Rooney. So you don't care if that is bad. You don't care. This whole shit is fucked. Okay, it's going to be bad and poor and weak. That's the confluence to short, to break through to 85. So go leave it like that. Fuck it. Leave it. You know, like all this, like this shit, leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. So if we get to 105, or in this case, maybe it is 96 or 98, okay? But we're going to be using those lows as confluence for the short. It might be a short from here. It might be a short from here. It might be a short from here. We don't know yet. Yeah, but I said, don't be afraid of the low because it's already fucked anyways. You just need to make sure that you don't make a lower low. So the long becomes easier the lower it falls because your invalidation is the lower low. How many of y'all remember me harping about that over and over and over again? The invalidation for any long is you can't lose that low. Why do you think we did the stop loss for the hedge long where we did? Okay. So just got to put it together. So look, none of this should be surprising, okay? VWAP, you got to get above VWAP. All right, got to get above VWAP. All right, got to hold the trident. All right, like let's just be blunt. How many people thinking about or already filled on a settlement long? So like, I'm never gonna tell you, I mean, I don't even know if I should even be having this conversation with you right now. Okay? I'm never gonna be like, hey guys, you know, let's all long here. Okay? And sometimes motherfuckers are gonna be like, you're so cryptic, man. Why don't you just say when you're longing and shorting? Okay? The closest that I'm gonna get is me reminding y'all, hey man, this looks exactly like shit we've talked about before, shit I've explained before. You guys have asked me how I would play it and what the invalidation would be. You know, so I'm never gonna be like, yo, everybody should fucking long settlement, okay? But I hope you know, even in the morning, okay? Like, you know, when we were talking about all this, I was able to ignite a little bit of curiosity in your minds to start thinking about, all of this shit. So yeah, how we doing? Everybody Gucci? And just, you know, don't take well, I'm not giving you my word about anything. I don't know what's going to happen, but see all of this shit for yourself. How many of you guys, I think it was last week, right? But there's been a couple of like bearish retests and bullish retests on settlements that I've done. And you guys have asked me what the invalidation was, what I was looking at, et cetera, et cetera. Any questions? How we doing? How we doing, Lions? Any questions? What are we waiting for, Bulls? What are we waiting for, Bears? LOL Colqui says, could it fail auction the settlement? Sure. So here's the thing. Like, you can sit there and come up with every 1,000 permutation combos, right? Could it do this? Could it do that? Could it do a 3 drives here? Could it? Yes. Anything is possible. What you want to do is start to figure out which of those possibilities are higher probabilities. LOL Kokui. So when, like, you can't just randomly say, hey, could it fail auction here? When does it usually fail auction, for example? Okay, do those scenarios exist right now? Okay. Like for example, we could be talking about a failed auction if the settlement was right here. If the settlement was up here and it was doing this, so like body outside a little bit, wick, right? Higher body, higher wick. And you were going to ask me, hey, could it do this? Yes. But this is value area low. So it would be like a little bit slightly less probability. Okay. You could still do this, but instead of focusing on this part, I think what you want to focus on is this. It doesn't matter if it does this. The thing that will matter is, does it go below and fail to get back in? So the ability to lose it but stay back in is what you want to focus on. Not the where could it go out. Okay, same thing if it does come to VWAP. Does it lose it but come back in? Or does it lose it and fail to go back in? That part, not the penetration, is what is most important. For me anyways. Okay, because the value rotation is from value area low to value area high. That's the way that I would be looking at it, my guy. So, and who knows, okay? The coolest part is, brother, just watch this shit and see what happens, man. You know, don't trust me, trust your own eyes and the many times that you've seen this happen. The bears are still with edge, obviously. Like flat out, bulls don't have any edge until they turn VWAP into support. So it's always going to start with the bears have edge. And basically the bulls are kind of like fighting. Last line of defense. They have been cornered into the fucking, like the staircase of the last building of refuge. You know, the ugly orcs have surrounded, okay? They need some of that like Lord of the Rings shit to happen right now. Okay, so there's a couple things that you would immediately be doing. The swing high, swing low, you know that has to get turned into support to give you a probable increase of cleaning that. What you really have to do is you have to spend time above 92.8. And at the end of it all, if you can't stay above VWAP, if you can't stay above point of control, if you can't stay above the orange line when CME comes back in 36 minutes, none of this matters anyways. You know, any low volume shit doesn't mean anything. But the way that it's pixel fucking the golden pocket, and in 6 minutes, we're going to see the 30-minute candle close. So you might see the the trident, right? The first one forms, the second one confirms. The trident is the same as applicable for a swing fail pattern as it is for a trident. Okay, so you don't want to get too ahead of yourselves. So that's what you're kind of working your way towards. 6 more minutes and you're going to have this. Okay, and then you have to wait another 30 minutes to see CME come back online. If you're already in a long, if you're already in a short, I think you have an idea of where you want the price to open when CME comes back, right? So at the end of it all, it doesn't really matter what it does in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. But as you get closer and closer to CME opening back up and you're going to have a gap, it'll become more and more significant. So brothers and sisters, you guys good? Bears, you know which way you want it, right? Bulls, you know which way you want it, right? Hey, bulls, what the fuck, man? Ka-cha! So all of these are basically like the levels to the downside and levels to the upside. We talked about if you were looking for a short, you've got a VWAP as resistance, something like this, okay? Value area high, and then also the 97.2 naked point of control up there. If you want to look for a long, you had an opportunity with the trident, and if you got stopped out at the box, I don't know how many people, because here's the thing. Let's say, for example, that you saw that this was coming back in the box, okay? And obviously, like, you need to be bullish to be able to take this. But instead of, you have two options. One is you're thinking to yourself, oh fuck, is it just swinging and failed auctioning back? Should I just wait for a bullish retest? So really, whether it's a swing fail or a failed auction, the question is are you willing to pay a little bit extra money and just market smash in instead of waiting for a pullback? Because if you're going to wait for a pullback and you're going to do something like this, and you're going to say, okay, I'm waiting for this, like let's say, for example, you go, okay, from here to golden pocket, from here to here, golden pocket. So if you were going to wait for a golden pocket retest, whether you market smash here or you wait for it, your stop loss is here either way. And then, when you get something like a structure change, this is where we talk about you shave a little bit. And so, maybe you can put your stop loss behind 7.5 or 7.86 or whatever. All right. So this is kind of like that forward-thinking process. Your entry is going to be the same. So are you okay with paying a little bit extra in case you don't get that pullback? So how badly do you want to be in the position is basically the question. All right, Dokong. And then if you're looking for like an easy bearish thing, well, like this. I'm sure there's already people drawing something like this. And so just make sure that you understand what the EV is to the upside and downside, So, so that's like so pattern sight, okay? So percentage meeting the target for breaking down is 32%, okay? So a lot of times people will be like, oh, it's a wedge, target is right here. Yeah, but statistically, your EV is 32%, okay? So that's why a lot of times, like, you get fake outs, okay? So remember when I said that would be something that I might be interested if it sweeps with CME? Take a look at like what it would line up around. See it? So, even within this context, I have levels that I'm looking at, So it starts with, are you bullish? Are you bearish? And then you can start to look at levels to the downside, levels to the upside. When you have shapes or patterns, make sure you understand the math. And that's it, And then obviously it's a 63% probability of meeting your target if it breaks to the upside, right? So a lot of people will be like, this is, it's going to hit the bottom of the wedge, but, and then obviously, if you want it to be bullish, holding the box as support is what you want. So it's actually what you have now is a little bit better chance that you're going to be able to hold this box than before because you already made a higher high. So you don't really have like a bear div. So I think you're okay on that context. So you actually have a slightly better chance than before to hold this. So let's see what happens, man. Okay, and as always, if you want to short, being patient until VWAP, seeing the reaction, minding the 7.5, all that good stuff. So just kind of a bing bong ding dong day. Stay safe. And then we got RTH tomorrow. So hopefully we can get one that is bullish. Yeah. Kachoy. Hey, Sato, tell them what happens if they don't use stop loss. Oh, he gonna smack the shit out of you. He gonna smack the shit out of you. Longers, shorters, bulls, bears, we're all lions. I'll see you guys pre-market tomorrow. Happy Thursday. Get nasty on a Bugatti.